So over the last few days, the lads have been clearing all the trees on this site here, of which there were a lot. This, you couldn't even see the back of this house. So what we're starting to do now is we're starting to put the fence in, which will just secure off the boundary. Now we have got 5 really good tips which will help anybody out in this situation when you're doing this. The first tip I like to give to everybody is the string line. Now, one of the lads has just put this out of the way here, so he's not splitting it when he's digging, but the most important thing is agree the fence line with your client. If your client has told you to put this fence up, and as you can see the boundaries now, all the bushes were out here, so now the boundary is a little bit lost. It's always a sensible option to agree the boundary with your client, and then there's no comeback to your company. Take some pictures of the boundary as well and email them to the client. I've always found that this helps, just in case, like I said, if there's any comeback at a later date. Now if we come a little bit further on, as you can see here, there has been an old fence. If you can just come in and have a look at that there, the old fence here. So there is the old concrete. Now if you want to spend hours, even days, digging out the old concrete, number one, you must be slightly mad, but number two, it's not necessary. Because what you need to do is snap the posts off at the bottom, cut them with a little hand grinder and get them to ground level. And then you can just go over the top of them with the new base panel. Number 3, we want to be going in with half panels. A full bay or section will go on the old concrete, and that's not what you want. You want to be digging a fresh hole here. So there's nothing worse hitting that, like we said before, and breaking it all out. It takes forever and it's not necessary. Now, as you can see here as well, we've got old tree stumps here and there. Now what we want to do is cut those tree stumps to the ground. We want to poison them off, drill several holes around the edge, and we want to pour in biodegradable Roundup or a glyphosate-based weed killer, which will stop then the roots at a later date pushing the fence up, because what you get with roots is what they call an annular thickening. So as they get thicker, they start to lift the fence panels up, move the posts from side to side, and that's when fence panels and base panels start to pop out with winds and everything else. And it can happen really quickly, not a lot of time. A couple of years down the line with annular thickening, depending on the type of trees that are nearby, it can pop those panels out really quickly. Now, if we go a little bit further down, it would seem to me that we're not really on solid clay here or solid ground. It looks to me like an old riverbed. Now you can tell an old riverbed because you've got all the smooth pebbles in the ground, of which there are a lot here. For example, you've got that one, and that is only by either the last action of the ice age, where it smoothed it all off, or they've been in a river. But because it's so sandy here, you've got to think that it's been an old riverbed. Now, sandy soil isn't as stable as, say, like a clay soil. So what we're going to do here is, this is a 6-foot fence, so usually we'd use 8-foot posts or 2.4 meters. Now what we're going to do now is we're going to put a 9-foot post in, or a 3-meter post, and that will just give you that stability and stop you moving it because the ground's a little bit unsteady. If we come down now a little bit further, what you'll see is we've been taking old tree stumps out with the stump grinder. Now, when the stump grinder's been going in the ground and cutting away at the soil and the roots, it leaves the ground quite unstable. So what we've done here is we're doing bigger holes again, but wider holes this time. And we'll also put another 9-foot in the ground, post in the ground here, but plenty of concrete round. As you can see, we've got smaller holes over here, as you can see there, but here we're going to go for bigger holes, because there's nothing worse when you've got loose soil at the back where you've been digging tree stumps out with a digger and what have you, and the stump grinder. That soil is then loose, not compacted, and it will move that way. So we're having a lot more concrete around these holes here, just to keep that fence secure. And they're my 5 top tips at this moment of building this fence.